First item on the agenda is a hearing for an RDA at 149 Staples Shore Road. Would you like to start off?
You have to read the legal for that?
We don't have to when I didn't bring it, so. I know you
All
went
the way
through-
up to the second floor to
I
give
know.
it to you.
You beat me later. My fault.
It's my fault. Hello, I'm Nelson Bernardo. I'm here on behalf of my brother Kevin Bernardo. He's spoken with some of you before about his request to build a fence on his property, a privacy fence, something around 6 feet tall. I passed out a handout explaining the project in a little bit more detail, but it's basically a wood or stockade fence of some kind. He hasn't picked one yet. More like his fiance hasn't picked one yet. And it'll be installed on his own property. There's 2 sections of straight fence. I think the project's pretty straightforward. The total is about a couple hundred feet of fence. Are there any questions?
Questions?
You had said that there were 2 sections. One of the plan pages that was offered in the packet shows actually 3 red lines. 2 on what I assume would be the north property lines, and then there's a short red line that touches maybe a garage outbuilding across the street from the pond.
That is correct. So the entire fence is located on the east side of the property. And the reason there's 2 sections because there's a small private road. As you know, Staples Shore Road is a private road that interrupts his property. So on one side he has his home, the other side is the garage outbuilding. And there's 1 piece of fence on each side of it. So there's only 2 pieces of fence. It looks like 3.
Well, I see satellite image, Bernardo property, yellow highlighted is the lot.
Oh my goodness.
section there.
Yes, there was a section there. I'm sorry, that is correct.
Okay.
You're right on the bottom piece, I'm sorry. We'd gone back and forth on whether or not to include it, and I realized that he did add that in.
That's fine.
That's a pretty private piece of property back there. There's already some fencing back there and another sort of outbuilding in the back.
So on the side that's closest to the lake,
Yep.
he's only doing a fence on one side?
That's correct. The other side already has a fence.
And how close to the water is he planning on running that fence?
That's a good question. We would defer to you. There's a concrete right now. The neighbor has a concrete sort of patio that runs right into the water.
Yeah.
So we were planning on abutting to that piece of concrete patio. So we're not going into the water. And there's actually a tree stump there at the end that's going to be difficult to deal with. So
Best to leave it be, right?
yeah, our plan is to leave the tree stump alone because we think if we dig it up, we're not sure exactly what happens, and we think it affects her piece of concrete. And
Yeah, isn't there a block of concrete right on the very end, right by the water's edge?
that's exactly right. And it's in pretty good condition.
Yeah.
So the last thing we want to do is try to take out the stump and then cause some problems. Plus, it's an older tree, and so we're not sure exactly how far those roots extend. So I didn't measure how close it's going to get to the water, but I'm not anticipating it gets too close, at least 10 feet away, even at the highest mark. But I'll personally be digging these holes by hand with him, so we'll see how close we can get to the tree, and then if we can fit one pretty close to the tree stump, we'll take it.
It's a good-looking fence.
Would the concrete pad impede your work?
If it does, we won't go near it. So we think that the concrete pad is not on our property. I think it's on her property, but it's very close to the property line. So I don't think we could dig a hole over there and properly install a fence post. Right, it would be too close to what she has. So I don't anticipate we're going to be able to build one over there. There's also some rocks that are protruding from beneath the concrete pad. So we think that her footing sort of extends out pretty far. So because of that, we'll do sort of an exploratory hole near the tree stump, and we'll get as close as we can. I'm anticipating we're not going to put a fence post too close to the tree or too close to her concrete patio.
You will use some cement, though, to...
Yes, we will, to hold the post in place. Yes.
What else?
Are you guys pulling a permit?
Yes, of course.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Have you surveyed the line?
Is it actually required?
I don't know if it is.
Well, yeah, so...
Actually, there is a,
If it's over 7 feet, a permit's required for a fence.
is that all? There's a police officer who's designated as the
Yeah,
fence guy.
actually goes out and measures.
Right,
A fence viewer.
yeah.
Hope he's tall, sees rid of the fence. So Kevin started the process by going down to town hall and talking with them about what was needed.
Okay.
And so he wants to be upfront about exactly what he's doing and what type of fence.
Yep.
Which is what led us here. And then once we've gone through this process, he'll go back to the building department, let them know what's going on, and then show them the type of fence and exactly where it's being located. The property was surveyed. We kept the marks. That was a couple years ago. But we kept the marks clear over there. One side of the property has a concrete bound or two, I forget. And then the other side had some wooden stakes that he's maintained and some smaller stakes that were driven into the ground with an orange cap. And I think the width of the property is 50 feet or 52 feet. But we've checked those multiple times and we think that the marks are good. And just before he bought the property, the neighbor on the other side installed a fence and had the markers checked and touched up. So we think that the property line's pretty clear over there.
Question.
Please.
Have you picked a person to do it, an outfit to do it?
No, I think Kevin and I will be doing this ourselves.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you know you don't put the fence right on the line, right?
Oh, that's correct, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
6
gonna-
inches in or whatever.
We're definitely going to keep it
Yeah.
on our own property.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to start by making a few exploratory holes and see how far. There's
no regulation on that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a requirement for how far we are in on our property. But our plan is to keep the entire construction on Kevin's property.
Exploratory holes, boy, you find some interesting
Sounds-
stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
what I think is going on is there's been trees there when he bought the property. There's some large trees all along that property line, and so we had the trees cut down, but intentionally not remove the stumps, especially the bigger ones, because we think they extend both into our neighbor's property, and we don't want to cause any damage over there. She also has a septic system you guys must be aware of that I know has had some issues for a long time. The last thing we want to do is pull out a stump and then cause some problem to a septic system that has issues, and now we own it. So we're going to see exactly how close we can get to the property line, digging by hand. I think there's a lot of tree stumps over there, a lot of roots going all over the place. So we'll get as close as we can, but definitely keep the whole thing on our property.
Can we be doing this in hot weather?
If it's like this,
I owe my brother a lot of favors, so I guess whenever he's in town, I'll be doing this.
he's in Texas, so he's not any better off.
It's much hotter down there, he told me today, but I don't think he's digging holes. We'll see.
All right. And what else?
Do we have any abutters?
I don't think so. Anyone wish to comment? All right, do I hear a motion then?
I make a motion to approve the RDA for 149 Staple Shores Road with a negative determination to install a privacy fence with hand excavated fence posts.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're good.
Thank you very much.
You'll be getting a copy within a few days, and you'll be free to go.
After that comes in, we'll go back to the building department and make sure that we've crossed our Ts and dotted our Is. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to change the sequence of things just a little bit here so we don't keep you good folks waiting through a lot of boring stuff that we're going to be discussing. So, what's that?
We have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The agenda didn't show that.
Oh, I've been holding back.
Oh.
Keep it a surprise.
That way you show up.
So, if you could introduce yourselves.
How you doing, guys? My name is Corey Pont. I live in 114 South Pickens Street there. I recently just run into Bob the other day.
Lucky you.
He told me, he enlightened me that I needed a permit to work within 100 feet of a wetland, and I wasn't aware of that. So my purpose here today is to acquire one, if possible. I recently just cut down some trees that I was endangering my home, myself, my family, so I took it upon myself to knock them down before any damage happened. it caused a little bit of ruckus, so it got a little attention of a little bit of people just driving by. So obviously Bob got a call, and he came and stopped by and told me what was going on, what the deal was.
So the only purpose in doing it was for safety's sake?
Absolutely, yeah.
To keep the trees from falling
Yeah.
on the house?
And you haven't excavated yet, you've only taken...
No, I've only knocked trees down.
That's good.
Yeah, just to back up a little bit, I received a few calls about trees being cut on Pickens, and it's a sensitive area because if you guys will recall, just a few months ago on
Yeah.
Pickens, we had an illegal tree
85 or
cutting,
something.
and that's why I advised you.
Yeah.
I stopped by, there's a lot of eyes watching you, and so I don't want to get you jammed up for that. So, so you are within 100 feet of the wetland, and also some of the calls that I received, well, we don't need to get into other details, but so I went out and sure enough, they had cut down, how many, would you say half a dozen trees altogether?
Yeah, about that. That sounds
Okay.
right.
A few of them were on the right side of the house, and they were kind of marginal, probably not 100 feet, so I'd let that go. And I think I told you could clean that up if you wanted. But a few of the really large ones were definitely in the buffer zone. So, what's your pleasure? How would you like to proceed with this? We can go a number of different ways. We can issue an RDA, or we can issue an enforcement order.
Well, I mean, he's willing, he came in the minute,
Absolutely.
So
to his credit,
I
he
wouldn't
was
be
very
interested in doing
cooperative.
an enforcement one. I think an RDA is probably,
And he probably doesn't know that whole wetland area is
That-
the source of water for my two ponds, way over on Highland Road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't really even know I was within buffer zone of the wetland and until he told me. So, like I said, I'm definitely willing to cooperate by any means.
Did you or you take pictures of the site here?
I did not, actually.
No, but I will. The trees on the left-hand side have pretty much been untouched, right?
Yeah, I haven't touched
They
him since he
haven't,
told me not to.
So, can I speak to a little bit? Because in reality's sake, it sounds like it's bordering on, it's really not a violation until he cuts down enough trees in the buffer zone. I think you're allowed to cut down one or two. So you might be right at that, but do you desire to cut more down?
No, there was one that was kind of endangering the power lines, not my home exactly. There's one that's quite lean. It's a pretty tall tree, and it's leaning a substantial amount over the road.
Is that one still up?
Yes.
And would you like to take it down?
I planned on it, but since
So that's fine.
All right.
I'm trying to get all this stuff out on the floor. I'm not trying to grill you or anything as much as the chairman asked how you'd like to handle this, and so I want to vet the process for you. If you want to cut down another tree, what do you want to do with the stumps that are there?
I planned on leaving them, honestly.
You get like
If
a stump grinder?
The ones in my yard, if I was to remove them, probably by a stump grinder. If not, I would try and dig them up. And they're all in my yard.
All right, so digging up a stump as opposed to grinding it might trigger a different reaction from the board.
Okay.
'Cause it's really, our purview is when the shovel hits the ground.
Okay.
Really, that's when erosion barriers need to come into play and things like that. And so that's really what you would want to present to the board is, this is what I'd like to do.
Okay.
And, don't be shy.
Yeah, I'm
Ask.
not.
But that would then trigger how we would maybe guide you, or say that would determine
Right.
the size of the filing that might need to happen. Does that sound accurate, Bob?
Yeah.
And if I was to do anything with the stumps, it probably wouldn't be in quite a bit of time from now. Anyway, I have a lot of cleaning up to do. Obviously, I've not done some big trees.
one thing you want to do, so I guess what we're saying is you need to put a plan together.
Yeah, right.
And show us exactly what you want to do.
Okay.
Make sure you ask for whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Even if it's a couple of years down the road, if you
Okay.
want to grind those stumps or pull them out, you need to, once we give permission, you can do it whenever you want.
Absolutely, all right.
If you don't grind them, they will, depending, I don't know, how many were pines, how many were deciduous trees?
Most of them were pines.
Pines, so they're not going to sprout, but any deciduous trees, those stumps will just keep putting up sprouts.
Yeah.
So you probably do want to grind them down. And again, as Mark said, if it's something that's threatening your power lines or they're threatening your house, now's the time to make the plan to take it down, not when the wind comes and blows it on your house and you can't get out of your driveway.
Yeah, and especially if you removed some, you might have created a window opening. Push one down that you didn't anticipate.
And that's also what I was afraid of when I knocked one down. I was like, well, I work a lot, and I had the week off last week, so finally I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. And I finally had some time off to go and do it. So it wasn't really a vacation much. I just was working the whole time.
So you did this yourself? You didn't have a tree service coming?
Yes, I did it myself.
Okay. And nothing fell in your house?
Nope.
Good job.
They went right where they intended.
So do you intend to clean up the trees
Yes.
that are down?
Yep.
And those are how far from the?
Well, some of them were almost right up against the house and maybe 40, 50 feet from the tree line.
Yeah, I've the ones that are where near the wetlands, they laid over into, it's what's still my property, but from what I believe, I have the plot plan here. But it's definitely in the buffer zone, so I was going to clean them up and get rid of them.
And what were you going to do with the branches and logs?
With the branches, I was planning on burning them or renting a wood chipper. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't burn them now.
Yeah.
So.
Are the trees good enough for lumber? Someone can come in and...
Yeah. I know a lot of them, they won't take the first 12 feet of the tree, but they're definitely pretty big to the point where somebody might want them.
Okay. So that kind of stuff you need to put in your plan and give to us. Did you say you have a copy of the plot plan?
Yeah, this is what I received from the town hall a while ago before I even started doing anything in the yard.
Okay.
Anyone planting anything else?
Yeah, I did, just because I like shade, I can't stand the sun.
Where the trees? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're actually kind of...
Where's the wetland?
You talked to a tree nursery to get some kind of idea what you might want to put in?
I was thinking, I haven't talked to anyone, but personally I was thinking about maple trees.
Should be good enough.
Depends what variety of maple. Aren't there some maples, Bob, that are considered kind of a non-plant in Massachusetts?
I don't know the names offhand, but yeah.
There's maples and there's maples. Some maples you plant and they're taking over 4 years later. You know Mockingbird Hill?
No, I'm not sure.
Mockingbird Hill's on Route 79. They're a tree trimming. They know trees.
Yeah.
Might want to get hold of them or a similar outfit. Say, hey, here's the situation. What can I plant that's going to grow in my lifetime? It's going to give me some shade.
You're right next to Peter Beaton's cranberry bogs there on?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. I believe they're right behind my house.
Yeah. Some of the trees kind of go toward that dirt driveway.
Yeah,
You have to go into, I think.
Yeah, they're not, I mean, they're not close, but
I'm
yeah,
just
they're
trying to
pointed
locate in my mind where it
pointed
is.
in that direction.
Yeah.
You said there was one that's hanging over your power lines.
Yeah, that one's, it's pretty much hanging over the road, almost leaning up against the power lines that are there.
It's been my experience, because I'm down back in the woods, and I have 3 poles coming down the road. Middleborough G&E will sometimes, you give them a call and say, hey, some of your lines are threatened here. They could come down and and cut the branches that are endangering the lines. And because the fewer branches, they're out to catch wind.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't like it when homeowners attack trees that are overhanging.
Yeah.
So if you say...
Yeah, I know. And also, I would have to get high into the tree to in order to knock it down. It would be,
Yeah, let them know what you're doing, they'll probably gladly come out.
Yeah, it
and
looks
do
like they
for you.
did trim some of them on the neighboring houses on South Pickens. They just didn't trim it. There's a branch pretty much right up against the wires there.
Yeah.
And they haven't even touched that one.
So, yeah, if you let them know what your plans are.
Can I ask your name again?
Corey Pond.
Okay, you want this back? Sure. All right. So what you can do is put together a little written description of what we've talked about here, what you plan on doing.
Okay.
Draw on your base plan there where the trees are that you've cut, any additional ones you want to, so that we know which ones are slated for removal, and come back at,
And if you can get an approximation of where the 100-foot line is,
okay,
right?
Okay, I don't really know where
You
the
don't know where the
wetlands start.
wetlands-
And I don't.
Okay. You have an idea.
yeah, we'll send someone out
Okay.
and put a few stakes in the ground,
All right.
and then you can measure off that.
Can we, at this point, can we allow them to do a little bit of the cleanup of the trees that
Well,
are
that was my
down?
next question, what will we allow them to do?
Oh, certainly, get the
in that
tree,
time?
yeah, get-
I
at least chip
think
up
that
the
would be
branches.
fair as long as he didn't excavate, remove stumps, do any chipping or,
Yeah.
not chipping, but stump grinding until you come back in. But I think it would be fair to say if you just chainsaw and a wood chipper for now,
Yeah.
try not to make the wood chips go
Yes.
into the water,
Okay.
away from the water.
Yeah,
because
I
that's
haven't
kind of
even seen any water really. Besides, I know there's some back where the cranberry bogs are.
Yeah, and there's
But-
probably just a little wet strip
Yeah.
back there, but just try not to
Okay,
send
yeah.
stuff into what you think might be low ground if it's wet and rainy.
Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
have to be standing water
Yeah, right.
for it to be a wetland.
Okay.
And really, it's just, we'd like to see a plan for the stump work,
Okay.
you know, but, you know, mark the trees, do your best to, we don't expect you to hire an engineer, I think, for what you're doing, if you're
Yeah.
just taking down some trees.
Yeah.
But do your best to, maybe on that plan,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, I'll
give you
draw
somewhat of a
something up and,
representation of some locations of the trees, show us where they are, and just say, this is what I'm gonna do with the stumps, come back in and just talk to Bob in the office to come back to another meeting, and maybe an RDA would be the thing to do, Bob?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the square footage of your lot?
It is 30,825.
Wow, small lot.
Yeah.
How long's that house been there?
1970.
Just made it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those houses about
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah. So you don't have a lot of room to move that.
All right, so are we good?
Yeah. I'll clean them up. I'll figure up a plan to do with the stumps. Are you guys concerned with the stumps that aren't in the buffer zone, or no? Okay. All right. So I'll drop a picture of the stumps that I'll wait until somebody comes and flags where.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll come up with a plan of what we're gonna do to remove those.
You're well aware of where your septic system is?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And if anybody shows up that's not here, just direct them to my office.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, if somebody else has concerns and they're bugging you, just send them to the office and tell them I did come and talk to conservation.
Okay.
And I'm allowed to clean up what I've done.
Awesome.
Whatever, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, guys. So how often when could I come back and propose an idea with everything?
Usually every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks? Okay.
So second and fourth Tuesdays of the month.
Okay.
We're not sure about
We
our
want to
next-
generate a letter that he could show to someone that states that, limb removal and chipping can be allowed, just in case. I mean, are you having any real problems there?
No.
No, just us.
Okay, just us, okay.
Yeah, I can come up with something.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys.
All right,
Okay.
good luck.
I'll see you soon.
Okay, good luck. And no more campfires.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
You also.
See ya.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next on our schedule here?
Let's go back to the schedule with new business. As you're probably all aware, there is a joint meeting with Middleborough planned for tomorrow night. if you haven't had a chance, here is the notice of intent. They're all basically the same, except one of them is only addressed to Middleborough, and the other one is both Middleborough and Carver. Legally, we can't discuss the filing until tomorrow. The only thing we can discuss is procedural issues.
These guys came in before though, right? This the Heaven Commission thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So did anyone have a chance to read this? Yeah.
Well, I thought we couldn't talk about this.
No, the content, I'm just curious.
all
Basically, all we have to do, we just have to authorize, make legal the votes that our town meeting took, and they're doing the same thing in Middleborough. Each town meeting authorized $5,000 for this test project. But
And they already actually came in front of us.
Right.
And we granted permission to do the weed extraction with the
The echo
mechanical
Yep.
thing or whatever it is, yeah. So this is almost like just a formality
Just
to dot the i's and cross the
It's
t's.
the legal thing, we have to do the vote.
Yeah,
So we have to do the vote at the meeting tomorrow night?
because
Yes.
it's a public
Yes.
hearing.
Yes.
Here's where it
So we
gets.
need a quorum.
Our commission.
Tomorrow, we have to have a quorum. Right. And we'll open both hearings simultaneously. The issue that has come up, and Lenore is the one who brought it to my attention. She thinks the regulations state that we can't do this, that they have to be separate filings, separate hearings, separate orders of condition.
Isn't DEP pushing this?
That's the thing. It was their idea in the first place to do a joint meeting.
So who would it get appealed to if it was wrong? DEP, right?
Have we not had joint orders of conditions down on Route 44 with the old Nanfeld Nursery?
Yes, but they were voted on separately.
They were voted on separately?
Yeah, not on the
Because I
same.
know we were at
Yep.
the Middleborough Commission meetings,
Yep, you're right. But
but
they,
we weren't there as voting people.
right. And they were held,
Okay.
they were held separately. And I think that's just a procedural thing. I don't see the
So are
harm.
you saying that we need to have a separately advertised meeting in Lakeville
Right.
in addition to this meeting?
And an order of
tomorrow night?
conditions that is issued only by the town of Lakeville, not Middleborough. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that's okay. But as far as meeting separately, I don't see what the issue is. But she may be right.
Do we actually have an official filing with us? Because we would need one in order to issue
For
the order of conditions.
yeah, this is a notice of intent.
That is the full
Yeah.
notice of intent?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we were at a quorum at that meeting,
No reason why
And
we
we
can.
voted
take a
separately.
separate
We vote
vote.
separately as Lakeville's.
Yeah, we've advertised.
and we would generate identical
That'll
orders
co-
of condition.
That'll cover both.
That's why I think it's legit.
Yeah.
So I say we just proceed to that meeting
All right.
to go that way. And
I'll continue
if
to
we
research it.
require more meetings or a separate meeting in Lakeville,
do it.
we will do that.
All right, in the meantime, I'll try and research it and find an answer, but if I don't hear anything different,
Well, I
we'll
would
just
say-
proceed tomorrow with,
DEP would be the person the people to ask. If they're pushing for it, and
Narrowed.
if it's just a procedural thing, maybe just ask them, are we doing this right?
Paddle boat.
I've spoken to,
That's what kept it open. But
no,
And I'd go back to
20
Jason or
years.
Jeff,
and then
just to, at OPEC.
oh, okay.
Just
I
to kinda
spoke
say-
Elise.
You know, our agent or our part-time agent has brought this issue to our attention. Can you please make sure that
Yeah, no, I've already
you
done
have
that.
closed this loop with Outback to make sure that, you know, it's their filing. It wouldn't be our,
Yeah, I've already
lapse.
approached Outback on that. What I haven't heard back from is Patricia Cassidy from Middleborough
Yeah.
to see how she feels about it. So if there's any change, I'll let you guys know by tomorrow anyway.
yeah, shoot an email out.
But that's where we.
So it requires no action, we'll just take our packets for tonight, and if we don't hear from you, we'll go into a meeting at 7 o'clock.
Absolutely, yeah.
It says it's requested on the recommendation of Mark Bartow, Southeast Regional Mass DEP.
do we know where we are on the agenda?
They do like we do. They're on for 7
Everyone
o'clock.
comes in at 7, right?
Yeah. So, who knows?
But this says that we meet concurrently outside of the normal meeting hours.
Meaning ours are Tuesdays.
Yeah, but theirs is Wednesday? Is that their normal meeting?
I don't know when theirs is.
Okay, so this meeting might be just for this.
Might be special, yeah.
Could be.
Okay,
All right.
it's at the town hall?
You know what that is, right?
Yeah, the big building,
The big building.
yeah. Park out back,
Back out back.
second floor, you said, right?
Right, second floor.
Okay.
All right, couple of other things. We have minutes that we haven't approved yet for May 28th and June 11th. Joe's, I think, has already reviewed.
I have reviewed, and the only thing I noted was that Josh was not noted as being present at one of the meetings, and I'm pretty sure he was. And I think Laurie reviewed the tapes, and you were there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Other than that, there were a couple of minor things, but nothing of fact. No, everything was changed, corrected. There's no reason we can't approve both of them. I didn't know if anyone saw anything else. Where have you been working lately, Josh?
It's down in Victoria, Texas for a week.
Okay,
It's
Texas.
Baltimore for
You're not in the
2
Caribbean
weeks.
anymore?
No. We were up in Kittery for a couple weeks.
Can it remain?
Yeah. Yeah. Been all over the place. But
Getting the frequent flyer miles out of this?
hotel points, flyer miles, rental car, yep, the whole deal. Starting a new job August though, so.
Different company?
Same company.
Oh, okay,
just
but
transferring.
different contract or something?
Yeah, yeah. going
Where's that
into-
gonna be?
It's still in Lowell, but it's environmental assessments. So,
We're still here, yeah.
Did you decide anything?
I would make a motion to approve, did you have any changes to the 28th?
No, neither one.
Make a motion to approve the May 28th, 2019 Conservation Commission meeting minutes as drafted,
As amended.
as amended.
Because I did make some corrections to what Laurie had originally sent you, but it was all minor stuff except for the one thing about Josh's attendance. And that was
Second.
corrected.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. And that was May, how about June? Nobody?
I make a motion, it was in the same email. I make a motion to accept the minutes for the June 11th, 2019 meeting.
All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
second.
Yeah, who seconded?
All in favor?
Did Mark second that?
Mark wasn't there. He was out.
Oh. So who did second it?
I'll second.
Okay. Well, because Laurie's going to be watching this on tape. She's going to go nuts trying to figure out who's doing what.
I can hear it now. They're at it again.
They're at it again, right?
All right, so we're good on minutes?
Yep.
Just a couple more items. 129 Hackett. Nate sent me out to take a look at it. It's a new house under construction, and he says there's some serious erosion problems. The bank is really steep, and it goes right down into the pond.
Where's Hackett?
Hackett is off Lakeside
Off
Ave.
Lakeside, yep.
It's off of Long Pond Estates.
Okay.
It's at the very end. It's the last. This one is here. It's the very last house, and like I said, it's it's ongoing.
Caused by the new construction?
Brand new house?
Well, it's new, and yeah, I think it's mostly from construction. It looks like it was never really graded, and they've brought in fill. And
Is there a filing?
yes, actually, we issued an order of conditions for this property, and we required straw wattles. So I called the builder/owner, and he said, well, I no longer am the owner. I sold that property months ago. He said, but I did install wattles there. They've just been buried because the erosion is so bad.
And of course, it doesn't make any difference who owns it, the order goes with the property.
Right. And you can see, and they're calling it wattles, but you can see that the remains of a silt fence off to one side. So I got a hold of the new owner, and I explained the situation. He said he had been made aware of it, and he's gone out and bought new equipment, and within a day or two plans to have it all fixed. So he's going to call me when it's done, and I'll re-inspect it. And
What kind of slope are we talking there? Yeah. Steep slope?
I was afraid walking down.
Okay,
down
steep slope, yeah.
Because first of all, it's clay rich and it's wet, so it's slippery, and it's not stable whatsoever. They're going to have fun grading that site. And there's two. They built two stone walls at the toe of the slope, right into the water. So there's very little property.
All
on that
new?
site. All new, yeah.
I'm sure this is a very small lot, 20,000 square feet or something, right?
Yeah, it's extremely small. You're questioning whether
Whether it was on the notice of intent?
I should have brought that.
The retaining walls they put in the water.
I'll check on it. I don't recall off the top of my head.
Just curious. It's in now.
But actually, it came through the building inspector, so I know they give it the.
How long ago did we write that order of conditions? It's been a while.
It's been a while, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Something like
And
that.
did they have to demolish a building that was on the property? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, so that's that. And Pickens we did, and finally Lakeville Hospital. In case you haven't heard, anybody seen this?
I started driving by today
Okay.
to get a sign out.
And you may ask, well, why us? The thing is, this is generating interest, and so builders, et cetera, all come into the office asking about wetlands and other issues for which we're not necessarily prepared. One guy asked for, where's your wetlands map? And I said, sorry, I wish we had a wetlands map. You can go to DEP and get one. They've got all that stuff. And I can show you maps for individual properties that we've reviewed, but I don't have a package for you as much as I'd like
And
to.
when we did the wetlands delineation, or walk with the delineators, I don't know how many years back, for Sherry Clancy, National Development or whatever, man, that was rough territory, a lot of wetland.
And there's been a lot of changes since we were out there.
Yeah.
Walking it recently with Jamie and a few others, I see some stuff that was not there before. So anyway, that's
It'd be interesting.
on the horizon for us.
Well, we wouldn't do anything preemptively, right?
No.
We would respond to.
We respond to applications.
And we're not contractors. We wouldn't go out and delineate it for somebody.
Right.
We would just make information available.
As far as the inquiries, is there a GSI thing that shows that overlay
Yeah.
that you could just send people to? Just to, I would think
Well,
that's
yeah, I'm
probably.
sure
Well, any engineer
anyone that's interested in building there would go probably to GIS. They'd bring up the Plymouth County Soil Survey to see what kind of soils you got there.
Crazy to touch that without going to deep.
Yeah,
Well,
a lot of people just tend to come in and ask
Yeah.
for the
Project this
information.
size, you'd be crazy to tackle without that
Well,
kind of
he's
information.
breaking it up though. You can buy a lot there.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
So it's always been the case because, I mean, a lot of people don't want to take on. Who wants to take on the whole property? You know?
I wouldn't want to touch that building.
Yeah, someone wants, I want a lot up here.
Well, the guy who came in yesterday, it says he'll go one way, either he's going to focus on just one lot, one property, or he might, in fact, go for the whole 9 yards. So it's from Marshfield or something out there.
Better do his due diligence.
Oh, yes.
So,
Or otherwise, he'd be in the proverbial sticky wicket.
So that's all I've got, unless you've got something better.
motion to adjourn.
That's even better.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.